This is Pastor Troy. You're on the dock right now, and we are excited to be here. We've got an incredible show for you today. Man, I'm going to just tell you right now, before we got the show launched, the devil tried to come in this studio. I mean, we have devils around Community Faith Church. We have our intercessors just slay them left and right. We send them out and hang them up out there. We found out that, you can skin those things, and the pelts bring us some. But we have our devils under control here. But Brent and Kara, they're filled with the Spirit. They are here from West Frankfurt. I'll introduce them properly in a minute. But when they came in here, they rolled in with some of the West Frankfurt devils. So our intercessors are going to have to get on it in here. So we've had every kind of devil attack my computer today. But here at On the Dock, let me get this right. We're about conversations to propel your faith out of the shallows and into the deep. We want people today, listen, you're going to explode when you hear what these people have to say. We're going to have a multi-part series. It's going to be incredible. Let me tell you all about it. But let me tell you, the fact that we're being attacked like this, it's going to be worth you dialing into. So get ready. You're going to get propelled deep in this series. So by the way, just check us out. You can find On the Dock at YouTube. That's our partner. Just go find the On the Dock with Pastor Troy channel. It is already up. And you can go to iTunes and Spotify. We have channels as well there. And our other partners that we are broadcasting on is Google Podcasts, Facebook, Roku. You go to Roku, download the SermonNet app and look up the On the Dock with Pastor Troy channel. And then Rumble and SermonNet app. Download that app. Great app. We're also available on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Telegram. We would love to hear your comments. Remember, always nice comments and supportive comments. This is the kind of show that we hang out and drink a cup of coffee, hot tea, whatever we got on the dock or what we can stick in a Crown Brew glass. We drink it here. All right. And once you find those sites, please check it out and hit subscribe, like, notify, and share those comments. Make sure you get subscribed to so every Tuesday and Thursday when our podcasts come out, you will be alert and aware of what's happening on the dock. We want you to be a part of it. And you can always be a part of it by becoming a partner with us through Patreon. Download the app. Become an On the Dock with Pastor Troy partner. We would love to have you. And you can be a partner or a sponsor. Check that out. You could even get one of these fancy coffee mugs that we have here. There we go. See that fancy coffee mug? You could have one of these bad boys. And just find out how to do that at Patreon site as well. And you can always find all of our platforms, find Patreon, find more out about us by going to our own website, onthedock.org. We also have an embedded player right there. You can watch it right there as well. If you have any questions, can't figure things out like I can't today, you can email us at info@onthedock.org. We have incredible show for you coming up. We're going to be talking about LifeSource Church. Right now it's in West Frankfurt. I've seen this church born as a baby born. Yeah. And Beth and I are excited because Mother Beth's in the studio with me today. Let me get a pic. Mother Beth, we've got a chance to plant 2 churches of our own. We've coached many churches, and over the years, off and on, we've seen 120 churches planted in Africa that we've been a part of. We've seen at least 5 campuses and now 26 pastors planting churches in Thailand. And I'm excited about all that. But I've never been more excited about 2 people doing church plants for me to get to watch and be a part of and see you guys grow than the people we have in the studio today. And let me just introduce them from LifeSource Church Series. That is Pastor Brent and Mother Kara Pyles. Mother Kara, we're going to call you Mother Kara some today. Get used to that. That is the African term of endearment for a pastor's wife. So it's Mother Beth. And in that term, if you're a leader, if you're a tribal leader, a mother of a pastor, mother of the country, even when they had a female president was Ma Ellen, it's Mother Kara. So it's a term of respect and dear love. And so Beth picked that up in Liberia, came back here, and every church since has called her Mother Beth. It just goes real well. She runs all around in Liberia, and they go, Mother Beth, Mother Beth, And so they write to her every morning, don't they? People are about 3 in the morning is 8 o'clock there. Her phone lights up. Everybody wants to speak to Mother Beth. So we've got Mother Kara Pyles, Pastor Brent Pyles. They are the dynamic duo of LifeSource Church. You guys, welcome to On the Dock. Welcome, guys.
Absolutely. Glad to be here.
Good to have you guys in the studio. Brent, just tell me a little bit. I mean, gosh, I know everything, but these people don't know anything. They're on the dock with us. On the Dock is all about getting people on the dock, having conversations with them that will encourage them and show them how to propel their faith. You guys have started this church from scratch, and this should encourage anybody. They can take on any kind of ministry, get out there and do amazing things. We've got this beautiful 100-year-old cottonwood tree sitting in the middle. It's wood like you'd find on a dock. Down the river bottoms. We're going to sit across here and we're going to have some conversation. And I got a feeling when we're done, people are going to see that they could get involved in meaningful ministry, whether it's in their local church or whether they're up in your area, just come and get involved with your church. They're going to find out they can do extraordinary things because you guys have done extraordinary things. It's going to build our faith today. And we're excited about having you here. So Brent, tell me just a little bit. We've been working with you guys since the beginning. We've seen you guys reach a group of people, a ministry group that, I mean, I have a few people from the other side of the tracks. You know, and I'm not defining who's on which side of the track.
Right.
There's like 20 sides of the tracks. Right. You know what I'm saying? But you have a church that built itself on the other side of the track. I go across the track in West Frankfort,
Yes.
and then I'm there. And not only that, you do an incredible work with a very, very eclectic congregation. So tell us about you, first of all. Tell us about your family and your background, and then we'll get into that unique church of yours. Tell us a little bit about you guys.
Well, of course, this is my beautiful, beautiful wife, Kara. We've been married going on 15 years.
Wow.
We've got 2 kids. Brockton, he's 14, just turned 14, and I got a daughter named Lakeland, and she just turned 9. 3 dogs. So that's who we are. Just doing what we love, man. We're ministry family. We're not a individual in this world.
How many years have you been in ministry? How long have you been doing this?
Well, with LifeSource, almost 8 years. But I've been active in ministry since I was 18, and I'm 35 now. So.
Wow, that's pretty good. That's a pretty good length of ministry. Kara, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you're involved in. And to be honest with you, how in the world did you get roped into being the mother of a church? I knocked Beth over the head, and she just woke up here. So
I thought that's what we all did.
Shanghai, it works. It's the safest way to do it.
It does.
Yeah, it's like Mr. T. You get him on the plane with a little sedation. I pity the fool.
Right. He probably wished he could have done that. It would have been easier than the way it happened. But I've actually been in ministry my entire life. I've been a PK daughter my entire
life.
life.
You're a PK? Oh,
yes.
Lord.
And it is true what they say.
Lord have mercy. He must have shanghaied her. This is going to be a tough story. All you people out there, she's going to tell you the God's honest truth. She's not hating on you or anything. When you're a PK, you see everything. And to get stuck back in this as a mother of the church, a mother of preaching, I mean, I don't know what she's fixing to say, but, if you've got kids in the car, cover their ears. In the name of Jesus, cover their ears, because she's going to tell you the truth. But the fact that she's still with this man means grace and mercy prevail. So go ahead and tell us the story.
All right. Well, so I was raised as a PK, and I had one of the greatest examples. My mom is the sweetest, most precious lady, and she was the greatest example as a pastor's wife for me. Now, when I married Brent, that wasn't the whole thing was not to start a church.
You thought you were out of this.
Yes.
Yeah, you thought you were out of this.
I always said, and I don't mean any disrespect.
That's okay. No.
I always said, because I was a PK, I never wanted to marry a pastor.
Of course you did. I would not have wanted to either.
Always said that, because you see the back, you see behind the scenes, And I said I never wanted to deal with that, didn't want to do any of that. And so when we decided to do LifeSource, I mean, I'll admit, I kind of fought it a little bit. I thought it was his calling, not mine. I was not supposed to be a preacher's wife or a pastor's wife. That's not what I was supposed to do. And so
you should have never said never.
I know.
That was your mistake. You should have said, Lord, I'm glad to do that. I'd be glad to do that. He'd have been the Lord like, nah, you ain't gonna have to do that, girl. I'll make you do something else.
Right. I know, right?
It was the never that got you.
It was.
Thank you.
So
people don't come up to your preacher. Don't come up to us and tell us you're never going to do something. Right. We don't want to make you do it, but the Holy Spirit takes notes of your stubbornness.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
It does. It does.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, because I fought that for so long, it was kind of silly for me. Don't ever fight the calling that God has on your life. I will say that, because it limited me in some areas. Yeah. But when he started LifeSource, it took a few years of me to accept that was my calling. So
you fought him.
Yeah, I did.
Did you? Okay, here's the question. Turn your mic a little more square to you there, because it's getting a lot of. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Yeah, there you go. Okay. Now, did when you fought him? We're just going to be honest, because Mother Beth's at the table. She'll speak up here in a minute until she'll spill her beans. Okay. So when you fought him those first couple of years, did you go to church while he was doing it?
Oh, yeah.
And put the smile on like your mama taught you?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I love it.
Yes.
That's a preacher's mama.
I will say this. I didn't fight him.
Oh.
I fought the calling.
Yeah.
So I still went
So you
to
decided
church.
to fight the Lord? I would have beat him.
Isn't that silly?
You'd have been a lot smarter to fight him. I mean, you decided to fight the man himself.
I know, right? No, that was silly.
I know.
I would never do that.
No.
But no, I didn't fight him. I supported him wholeheartedly.
You're a good woman.
He's a good, amazing pastor, and I knew that was his calling. I just didn't think it was
My
mine.
wife didn't talk to me for 12 years.
Well, 3 years. I mean,
Yeah.
I did that.
So what softened your heart after 3 years?
I think there was I was in prayer one day, and well, I mean, I always pray, don't get me wrong, but I was just in prayer one day and I thought, why am I fighting this?
Yeah.
So I thought, well, let me stop fighting it and start a different approach. And once I did that and turned my whole mindset and just accepted it instead of pushing against
Right.
it felt like everything just kind of fell into place.
Man, you know, the whole time you had your head outside the yoke trying to pull the plow with him. Doesn't work. You put your head up under that yoke, and the yoke gets a little easier because Christ
Right.
is pulling with you.
Yes.
So
You know what though? It was almost like it was actually through a trial that we went through,
Yeah.
because our home itself came under attack, and it caused her and I to have to really bind together and pray like we never prayed before.
Right.
We got away for a couple days and really just soul searched and talked, and just basically put everything on the table. I think that actually was
It
the
was.
moment, and we were at Giant City
was.
Lodge in
Yeah.
Carbondale, because that's where
Yeah.
we went to just get away. It wasn't real far, but it was just
No.
enough to kind of break out of the atmosphere.
enough that people couldn't find you. They
They
didn't know where you
couldn't
were.
find-
That's
no.
what you know what I mean.
One
there.
person knew where we were,
just in case
and
somebody
That's
So-
who's
all of
watching
us.
the kids.
Yeah.
That's it.
but it was through that, I think, man,
Yeah.
everything turned, because we had like an all night conversation, talked, and yeah, the Lord really,
Yeah.
I think that's where He really birthed that powerfully in you.
Well, that's
Yeah.
good. Praise the Lord. Well, you came alongside him now. You're pulling together. Man, that makes everything makes me a lot happier to know that you survived, because the Lord didn't take you out.
No.
So I love the fact that you were going to try to come at the Lord a different way. You're going to try to psychoanalyze the Lord. I like that, dude.
I'll support him. Just don't expect me to do it.
That's right. That's right. I've heard
You
that.
should tell us how you guys met.
Oh yeah, we want to hear. How did you guys?
How you and Brent met.
No.
I was going to say our
That was
story's
much more
pretty
romantic.
funny.
You guys tell us first how you met.
Yes.
Yeah, we want to hear how you
Okay.
met first.
Oh, you.
Church, first
Oh.
off, obviously.
Yeah,
Of course.
We were all we grew up in church.
Being a
but-
PK, that's the only way to find her.
right.
It was. It was.
She's
Yeah.
folding the bulletin and having to do something. Dad had her doing some work.
Right. Well,
I
he fought hard to be able to tell this, so I'll let him tell
Go
it.
No,
ahead.
I haven't fought hard. I mean, but I've known you since I was probably 5.
Yeah.
And her dad didn't like you, huh?
Well, she
No,
didn't.
Dad loved
Oh,
me.
Dad like. So that bothered you right off the bat, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can
Because
tell
I
you.
asked her out when I was 9.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And she was 10. And she said no because she was afraid everybody would make fun of her if she went out with me. And that
Wow.
scarred me.
He did.
That scarred you.
Well,
bad. Well,
yeah.
actually, it put some drive in me because I chased her from the time I was 10 to 20.
Wow. Wow. What a
He
pursuer.
did.
He's got a pursuit mode.
Oh, I
in him,
got it.
doesn't he?
I even told her, I said, I don't care who you date or even who you get engaged to, but you're marrying me.
I'm coming. I'm
it
coming after you.
happened.
I told
you
her that
gotta
all
like.
the
You
time.
got to respect that, don't
Right.
you? Yeah. All right. How we met? Gosh, how did we meet, Brent?
I actually remember the day you came in. the
You
barber
do
shop.
really?
Yep.
Actually, I don't remember that day.
I remember the day
Let's
you
hear-
came to the
go
barber
for it.
shop. You
I'm
came
nervous
in.
now.
You came in, and you were just new pastoring
Yeah.
here, and you were getting to know people, getting to know the
Sure.
area. You brought in a picture to me, and you said, "This is how I want my hair cut."
Can you do it?
And can you do it?
Yeah, I would have done that. Can you get it done?
Can you
Because
do
I had
it?
a really good barber where I was before. We were coming down and guy cut my hair, and not everybody could cut flat tops. I've been tortured places.
Yeah.
I've been places and get my hair cut, and then oh my gosh, I'd be in Texas doing something, and my hair would be bad. I'd come back home and apologize to her. You know how I come back to you? I get cut real short before I go on trips, and
Yeah.
and then come back, or they mess it up. And you got to fix it. It's hard to fix a flat top, and you look terrible when your head's crooked like an eraser head.
Right.
So yeah, so that's how I did. I asked you, and what'd you say? No problem.
Yep.
I jumped in the chair and I liked it, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Gosh, we've been hanging out a long time.
It's been years.
Gosh, and it's in that time that you began to talk about moving out on your own and getting your own
Yep.
and going into your own ministry and stuff. And I just got to watch you from the beginning. And so I guess somewhere in there I volunteered the fact that we'd both planted churches and stuff.
Right.
Yeah. And you weren't smart enough not to do it after I told you how tough it was.
Oh yeah, you told me.
And then you went over to the other side of the track and did a church that we wouldn't have enough guts to try to do. It's just amazing. No, because you reach people that are very difficult to reach. And we have people that are difficult to reach in our church, but you've a specialist at it. I mean, you really do. You have a real good there. So tell me a little bit. First of all, LifeSource Church. Let me bring that up here real quick. I've got a good graphic here. I got a great graphic for that here. I got your graphic up here. Tell us about your church meets on Sundays. Was it 11:30?
Yep.
Do you have coffee or something beforehand? Are y'all doing
Yeah,
that?
we have a cafe that's open from 9 to 11.
Yeah, I just want to get that out. So you're in West Frankfort. You're located at 1011
1011.
1011 East what is that? East
Sixth.
6th Street
Yep.
in West Frankfort. So 11:30 service. They've got a contact number. You can check the slide out. We'll put that in the show notes as well. You got a Thursday thing? What's weird is you do Thursday. So Beth and I was dogging you last night. I said, yeah, they could do that. She said, won't they have church tonight? I said, no, they don't do it. They got that weird Thursday thing going on. You know, nobody does that. And then Beth says, we did. So she reminded me, she came out of Christian Fellowship in Des Moines, and you guys started your church when?
Oh, I was in junior high, 6th grade. I don't know, in a living room. We were in a living room, and we would have it on Thursday night so that people could go to the regular church on Wednesday
us.
and come
That's
to
it.
Bible study on Thursday.
Yep.
Yeah. So her church that she came out of started on Thursday. I said, oh, okay. Then they're not the only weirdos. You're weird too.
We're all weird.
Well, you all three. I'm not.
Yep.
I'm not. I'm normal, at least for now. But so you got Thursday night, 7:00. That's
Right.
great. You can come check them out. I mean, gosh, do you always do a meal? You're doing a meal right now. You're back doing a meal at 5:00. That's good. So hey, if you're in West Frankfort, how's the meal work?
Hey, you want to know how we started that?
Yeah, I want to hear.
So when we first started LifeSource and we were inviting people to come and do an outreach, biggest excuse I think we ever had was, I can't. I got to have dinner or something like that because I go home from work and then dinner. I can't come tonight because I need to take care of my family. Well, no, you don't, because we're serving a meal. Just bring your family with you and we'll feed you.
Well, that does solve it. So if you're in the West Frankfort region, you have no excuse not to go to LifeSource on Thursday night. I mean, I guess you could say I had to do my laundry, but they'll get them a laundry. Don't make them get a laundry machine.
We will.
They will get a laundry. They got enough room. But you can go there and get you a meal. What do you typically have? 5 to 6. What kind of food you got?
Oh, it's a full meal.
It's a full
hot
meal. They're gonna get a hot meal.
Well, the kitchen's called the Soul Kitchen.
Oh, I like
and
that.
it's soul
All
food.
right.
So
like
everything
come
is
out-
very great.
Yeah,
it's good.
come out, get a meal, check out church at 7:00 there on Thursdays, Sundays 11:30, and hey, they've got a great Facebook page. The Facebook page is LifeSource of West Frankfort. I looked at it last night; looked really good. So check that out, and we'll talk more about that. That'll be in the show notes. Don will have that down where you can see it. So I want you to get the details on their church stuff here, but really, what I want you to look at here, guys, is tell me a little bit. Let's get a little background on how LifeSource, the history of LifeSource, kind of the background of it and how you got it started and where it's come and where you are today. Give us a little bit of overview.
Well, we actually officially launched 2014 January. We had tried to start it before that, I think around fall of 2013, but I went through a loss with my mother, and so that kind of backed everything up just a little bit. So it took us a few months to kind of heal from that, get our minds wrapped around everything. So we officially launched, but we did the same thing, Mother Beth. We started in our living room. We were actually serving in a church. We were the associate pastors there because we've been in ministry for years. And so we were serving there, but we knew God was calling us to start this church. Right. Because it wasn't because we weren't happy where we were or because we couldn't do what we wanted to do. There's just that God put a very just unique vision.
Absolutely.
And
I see that from you, man.
Yeah, and anytime we tried to talk to people about it, we always got told how it wouldn't work or
I
why.
would have told you it wouldn't work.
Right. Well, I would have told
probably
somebody.
did several times.
You probably
No.
did.
But that's because God called you to it. When God calls you to it, I mean, you part the waters when God tells you to do it.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, and that's the thing. God did call us to a place where we had to reach up to grab it. It was not anywhere near our comfort. But that was kind of the whole vision. The vision was to get to a place where we actually started to bring restoration to our city because we're both pretty well raised in West Frankfort, and so we knew the background. We knew the kind of the whole issues that we had in our city, and every I know every city's got its own issues, but West Frankfort, Franklin County's it's known for poverty, it's known for addiction, it's known for depression, anxiety. Man, we had so many people from our own graduating class that's committed suicide. So, we had determined, man, God put this in our heart to build this church. We had determined not to just be another church, to not just be another church on the corner, not to be a professional, pretty museum of saints. But, I mean, we had determined that we were going to go and reach people that, they're all 9 flavors of dysfunction. And we knew that going in. So God already began to prepare us for that. God already began to, put that in us. So that's kind of what our whole vision was starting this. So, I mean, we launched in our living room and packed our living room out. Then we started borrowing buildings, basements of buildings.
Yeah.
And then God finally allowed us to get a little storefront that we were in for about 6 months. And then we moved into an actual church building. And then we moved into the building we're in now, which is
Gargantuan school.
it's an old grade school.
It's all grade school. It's just great. It's just great.
Yeah.
I mean, your story is amazing, and we'll come back in maybe one of the later episodes and talk a little deeper about it. But you know, if you're called to do something, then God will equip you and give you the patience and the temperament and the ability to do it.
Right.
It doesn't matter where He calls you or what others really say. I mean, I was never critical of you starting a church. It's just like before I would do what you did, I would go back again to the backside of Liberia, to the darkest tribal area, or to the top part of Asia, Thailand, close to up near Cambodia in the Vietnam area. I would be more comfortable going up there and planting more churches like we do.
Right.
And most people think I'm crazy for going halfway around the world, up into the Vietnam-Cambodian border to try to start churches, or deep into a tribe of Africa, to do that like we've done. But I would much rather do that again than do what you did. To be honest with you. Right. I mean, but that's what God called me to do.
Right.
And if God calls you to do it, He'll equip you to do it.
Right.
And the gates of hell won't prevail against you.
That's right.
If you're doing it. And that's why I can't be you and you can't be me. And that's what I love about the partnership. Here at Community Faith Church, I absolutely consider LifeSource our sister church. I mean, anything you guys, it's yours.
Right.
Because there's no competition here.
Right.
There's 2 calls here. We're just wanting to slay the neighborhood.
Right.
So you guys are doing amazing work. Tell me about, go a little deeper. What is the mission and the mission? Let me define mission. Mission is where you're trying to go. The mission is for our church, Community Faith, where I pastor, the mission is to be a community of faith.
Right.
The vision to get there is by growing people into growing faithful followers of Christ, growing them in. We have core values of prayer, outreach, evangelism, worship, and discipleship. So our goal is to be that community of authentic faith. We get there by growing disciples. What is your destination mission? And the vision is the verb to get there. What is your mission and vision? What are you looking to do?
Our mission is which our official mission statement from the very beginning was to be the body of Christ so effectively that in our absence, our city would grieve. And I feel like, because what God put in my spirit from the very beginning was, if tomorrow we just said, I'm done with LifeSource, we're shutting everything down, we're canceling everything, if our city didn't notice that we were gone, then we failed.
Right.
Wow.
And that's the crazy thing is churches do close, ministries do close, and do people notice that? Were they effective and impactful enough that the city, no, we actually need you here, get back in here.
That's a really,
That's great.
that's a great, and I'll tell you what I like about it. There's 2 images that come to my mind. I think one is the Left Behind, the whole concept of that. Someday, LifeSource is going to disappear.
Yeah.
Right.
And everybody's going to be left and go, man, they were right. We missed them.
Yeah.
Right.
Right? No,
Right.
Really. I mean, the Lord's going to come. Those are going to be called up, and then people are going to be like, whoa, we should have been on board. We
Right.
should have paid better attention. The other thing is, COVID has been a time where many churches shut down, lost all influence. How were you able to maintain that ministry of being connected to your city without letting it grieve through COVID? Because that could have been one of those times.
Right. Actually, what God did for us, and it was all God, we take no credit for it, but what God did through us is He allowed us to meet needs. And that's what we had determined from the very beginning of the pandemic was this is not our time to take a break.
Right.
This is the time the church should actually be more loud,
Yes.
more present, more effective
right.
than absolutely ever before.
Right.
So this is not our time to put our feet up on the couch and be like, all right, we're going to watch TV while we eat scrambled eggs. No, we are going to actually get busier. And I told our team that, I told our church that this is going to actually be a very tough work because we've got to absolutely shine right now because
Right.
I think that it was a dark period, man. It was a
Yeah.
very dark pandemic and the church should have been shining brighter than ever.
Yes.
And we partnered with St. Louis Food Bank. We partnered with different local charities, even with our own charity. And we just started serving food and we started helping people with supplies.
That's great.
And it became a weekly thing. So
you were able to stay connected. We're gonna dive
Nonstop.
100% into COVID leadership in the next couple episodes. So we'll go deeper into that.
Sure.
But I think you're absolutely right. I
Yes,
think
I
relevant
agree.
when you
Yeah, totally.
So vision. How are you going to get to this level of of a connection with the community that would cause a grief without you. So the vision is how your execution plan.
Yeah. So our vision to get to there is obviously from the very beginning we had to know what the issues in our city were. We're just trying to figure out what are the issues, what is the church responsible for, because I think we sometimes forget that the church is actually responsible for things that our government has had to come in behind us and take care of.
Yes.
Because churches aren't doing it.
Right.
And so, taking care of widows, taking care of orphans, feeding the hungry, taking care of all, the poor, that's the responsibility of the church.
Yeah, it is.
So we really looked at what are the needs of our city, what's the needs of our county, and so we want to meet those needs. I don't want people coming to us because there's still a thing where people always go to the church.
Right.
They always do, because I mean we have people come to us weekly. Hey, we need help with this, we need help with that. So people know that the church is where you're supposed to go to. It's just they keep getting turned away.
Right.
And
Because
that's
the church,
a tragedy.
Because most churches are operating as social clubs.
Yes.
You're not in the club. You're not one of us. Frankly, we're a poor club. We don't have anything to give you anyway.
Right.
And by the way, we already send $100 off to our denominational program.
Right.
Who is really maintaining some other bureaucrats that aren't doing anything. Or one missionary in an irrelevant country.
We just got something started.
Yeah, I'm sorry, folks, but that's the honest
true,
truth.
though.
That
It
is
is
so
true.
true. The church is responsible for the things we've abdicated, is what you're saying.
Yes.
You're wanting to figure out what those issues are, and I
Yeah.
think that's brilliant, because I think we can dig into that much deeper in a little bit. But because I'm with you. We totally agree. We think
Yes.
so much. We are giving the government our lives right now. We're mad at the government about not providing this and that. And frankly, the community of faith should be doing that.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
The church should be our life source.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, and we've turned to the government, and whether your government's good or bad, your king's good or bad, then everything's going to rise and fall on that.
Right.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't.
No.
It should rise and fall on the Son of God.
Right.
And the Son of God said that we are to have abundant life and to have it and to have that
abundantly,
more
yeah.
abundantly. So that's so good. We're going to dig deeper into that, because
Okay.
when you see me marking this notebook, that means we're coming back to it
Right.
in a special episode.
Right.
So we got a roundtable discussion. We get deep, because that's a really, really. I've never heard anybody. I've been around a lot of church planners. I wrote my doctorate's in church development and planning, and we did a study called Genesis Churches, where I probably studied 200 new church starts across the country back in 2000. I didn't have anybody say that they were looking at the top to build their vision to get there by what are the issues and how they could transform their community, transform the people in the church to be transformative to the community by looking at the things that they could be responsible for.
Right.
That's a bold statement, and that would fit so well with your mission statement that if you were out of there, there would be an instant a need not filled.
Right.
Yeah. Really cool. One of the coolest things I've ever seen, and it really fits what you guys are doing. So almost everybody you guys deal with, every person you're dealing with, all of us deal with transformation projects. It doesn't matter who you get, but sometimes you get somebody and they're there, and somebody when you get and they've got addiction or substance abuse, or their spouse or whatever's heavily, you've got to just sometimes just to get them on level ground, you got to fill in a lot of holes.
Right.
I mean, it's not like you just come in and building somebody's faith. You got to go down there in the mire and get the alligators out and get rid of the snakes and pull them up out of the water and get them just coherent. And then you can start building some foundation.
Right.
So you've got some real work to do in what you do.
Oh yeah.
I do find, though, we find more and more that that's true everywhere we go now. It doesn't matter, rich, poor, drug-free, white, black, polka dotted, it doesn't matter. We have a lot of troubled people today. There's a lot of baggage in people's lives
yeah.
today.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me ask you a couple more questions. We've got a few more minutes in this episode, and we're going to have so much more. It's going to get great, I can tell you. But this is to both of you guys. Just give me just the short ones here, because we'll get deeper into this. What's the greatest blessing you've kind of seen so far in your 8 years as part of LifeSource? So what's one of those big blessings?
You want to start, babe?
Yeah, she threw it back to him.
Yeah, she did.
Sometimes we do that here.
Hot potato.
Well, okay, I'm going to give you two questions so you can both be thinking. What is the greatest blessing? Maybe one of the top blessings, and then what is one of those the biggest challenges that's tried to come along and block that mission and vision? What is some big devil that's just jumped up in the road on you and kind of said, "Hey, you're not coming in here." Like a Goliath. What's been a Goliath you've had to face over these 8 years? I'm sure you've had many, but just give us an example of something, a challenge out there, because I think people need to hear ministry's not easy. Ministry has daily devils, daily challenges, and you get to 8 years because you had to slay a lot of them along the way,
Right.
and every day they walk out another one. So just give an example of something you've taken on, and also a blessing that you've seen, and I think that would really help people kind of get a feel for what you guys go through and what you challenge.
we'll probably agree on this, but I think probably the biggest challenge is I feel like our area is just plagued with dishonor. And I think that's just one of it's probably everywhere, I'm sure, but it's just one of the governing spirits that I believe is over Southern Illinois. And I know a lot of great men and women of God that don't even want to come back to Southern Illinois because of how dishonoring this whole area is. So I think what we have found to be a challenge is to continue to love people and trust people and open yourself up to people when you have fed them, loved them, clothed them, made sure their kids were taken care of, bailed them out of jail, sat in court dates with them, sat at bedsides with them, for them to stab you in the back, go around behind you, talk
they'll
about
light you. They'll light you up.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I think, honestly, that's probably been one of the biggest challenges, because it's like, this is what you're called to do, but it's like it's almost like Paul. Like, I'm going to go to Jerusalem, but I'm probably going to die.
Yeah,
That's what it feels
but let me
like.
let me make you feel real good about something. That happens exact same way both sides of the tracks.
I believe that.
So it's not a track side. It's just
Yes.
humans are nasty, and the old man, when the old man appears, he's debilitating.
Oh, yeah.
And you can live through it, and you want to love and trust people. You want to be a shepherd, and the sheep have that relationship. And when that's violated, it's very difficult. My biggest moments, my most painful moments, are those betrayal moments when when you've defended, you fought and you've turned your back on them to defend them, and you catch a knife.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah.
You know, that is the toughest moment in pastoral ministry. We've been in ministry 33, 34 years now. It doesn't get easier.
No.
It actually gets worse. And the key is not to get jaded.
Right.
But you are going to get a little more jaded. You're going to be a little more skeptical.
Yeah.
That's not a good or bad thing. It's just a reality.
Right.
But the thing is, most of the people we went in ministry with, most are out.
Oh,
Most
yeah.
of my seminary guys, most of the guys I started with are gone. They've been gone 10, 15, 20 years.
Right.
The best leaders I went to seminary with, like my friend Shane Bishop, Mark Jordan, 3 or 4 of us that were all dialed in, filled with the Spirit. We were on track. We have a personal quiet time with God. We have a relationship with each other. We have a good spiritual mentor in our lives.
Right.
We have been able to maintain. But that's by the grace of God.
Mm-hmm.
I think what's been hard for us is balancing out the personal and the spiritual.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Yeah. Because we would allow ourselves to get really close to certain people,
Right.
and then they, like you said, you turn your back.
One
and
third.
you're stabbed.
Look. We've started multiple churches. We know where you're at.
Mm-hmm.
This is a fact. I wrote this in my book, Making a Church from Scratch. 1/3 of the people you start that church with will stab you in the back within the first 3 years, and they'll be gone. They don't mean to. They can't help it.
Right.
They just get excited about a new thing. They come on the new thing. They get on the raft, and they're going down the boat with you, Brent. And as the vision gets defined and you begin to put structure on it, they begin to buck structure because they're all idea people, and it's not where they were, and they're jumpers. And so you start changing. You don't really change. You start maturing, and next thing you know is they go, well, that's not what I wanted. It's not the control, or it gets like this. And they look out and they see a new shiny toy, and they go, ball. And they jump on you, and as they jump, it would be okay if they just jumped, but they jump. As they jump, they stab everything and deflate every ball you have.
Right.
And you've put a lot of time into them.
Yes.
We had people, we did that too. Same thing. 1/3 of your people are fruits, 1/3 are flakes, and 1/3 are nuts. Nuts are high sources of protein. They get the work done. They're good. Fruit is the fiber of the church. They're just solid. But 1/3 of the people you get in your church will be flakes. They'll flake here. They'll flake there.
Right.
Yeah.
And it hurts because you put the same time in all of them.
Yes.
And it looked like they loved you like a leader, and you were really just a cult leader. And they went on to a new cult. Because they're not into the work of the Lord itself.
Right.
They're into what they want to do or what they're into at the moment. And that can be that.
Yeah.
That is true across the board, but it's the most painful thing I think we do.
Yes.
And one thing that we've learned to do is to weed it out. We've learned to fast, and we've learned to pray about specific things, and we don't have to ask it to leave. It leaves on its own. And
Yeah.
So you
then-
just pray and fast. And,
yes,
Yeah,
and
that's good.
then when that happens, it leaves on its own, and then it's so funny. I had a friend of mine that came to used to come to church few years ago, and she's in the middle of doing some personal stuff with her family now, but she came back for the first time on Sunday, and she called me on Monday. She called me and was talking about how proud of us she was, because not that our church wasn't spiritual then, but she loved how much our church had grown
Right.
spiritually. And I explained to her, I said, the reason why it's done that is because we've done Mary challenges, we've fasted, we've prayed, and we've done all kinds of things to get that junk out so
Right.
that we can grow spiritually.
And you're always going to be going through those cycles of growth and stuff.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I think let me close with this, and we'll get in this a little bit deeper in the second episode. You guys are not going to want to miss that. But listen, one thing that my mentor taught me, Fred Bishop, he says, when the fruit's ripe, it'll drop in your hand. And so I've always followed off that. You know, we started talking about this podcast back in, I started talking to the Lord last December. By the time I talked to Lucas and Ben about it, and they said, man, it's a good idea. We went on a retreat. Everything just moved, you know, at the right pace. I thought we'd be in this back in May, but we're so much farther along than I thought we'd ever be. And when the fruit's right, it drops. And you just pray and you fast and do all that. I've never thought about reversing that, though. I've always just prayed when ministry needs to happen or somebody needs to do this. I've never thought about also praying and fasting when somebody needs to drop out. You know, this fruit needs to leave, you know, or needs to go.
Right.
So I think you're really adding something there that what we need to do is stay dialed in. We need to have that time with God, be praying and fasting for the right ministry team. Jim, not Jim Putman, but from Good to Great, he says you got to get the right people on the bus, right people out of the bus. You know, sometimes you got to get people out of one seat into the other
Right.
seat,
Right.
get them moved around. All that I think is accomplished best. Exactly what you're saying about prayer and fasting. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Well, hey, we're going to wrap up this episode. We're going to come back with some great stuff in the next one. So, guys, I mean, thank you guys so much for the first round. And I know people are going to get excited and thrilled to get deeper into this. So I just want to say, guys, we'll be back in part 2 with, we're going to talk deeper about COVID, guys, pastoring trends and changes with COVID-19. It's really changes. And I think Pastor Brent and Mother Kara will give us some incredible insight there to how they've ridden through that in the season ahead. So we're sure glad you guys have been here with us on this first episode.
It was awesome.
Was it okay,
Yes,
Kara? Was it okay?
absolutely.
So even with, we got off to a rough start. I can see why the devil did not want us in here because we're going to give people some good stuff. So if you're out there, we want you to join us at onthedoc.org. You can email us at info@onthedoc.org, and please get out and find us. Obviously, you found us if you're watching this, but we have other platforms, YouTube, iTunes, Spotify. Go find us on Google Podcasts, Facebook, Roku, Rumble, and Sermonette. And we'd love to hear your comments on this show. Send your comments in. Remember, always be nice or we'll delete you. We will do it. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Telegram. We want this to be an uplifting show and a positive show, so do that. When you find us on those platforms, hit subscribe, like, notify. Please share these comments. Share this show out with other people through your social media because we want to help lift people up and get them out into the deep. And by the way, don't forget to become one of our Patreon partners or supporters. Go to Patreon, download the app, find On the Dock with Pastor Troy. We would love to have you. And you can always go find that app and the link to all those things at onthedoc.org. And if you don't have a church home, and you live in the Marion area, we'd love to have you at Community Faith Church. Sundays at 10 o'clock, Wednesdays 6:30. We have a presence online virtually at coftv.com. You can watch our player there or watch us on Facebook or YouTube with channels under our name. And we never promote ourselves and not our friends. You can also go to LifeSource if you're up in the West Frankfort region. Go to LifeSource. You can go see them Sundays at 11:30, cafe from 9 to 11. Go out and visit, have some fellowship. Also, come on out on Thursdays. No excuse, guys. No excuse, ladies. Thursdays, 7 o'clock, and they have a free meal, 5 to 6:30. Beth and I will have to start coming up on Thursday nights. That sounds good. Find them at 1011 East 6th Street in West Frankfort. Check them out at Facebook at LifeSource of West Frankfort. Check them out. Get involved. They would love to have you. Would you guys like to have them?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
All right, you can come out there. It's a great church. You'll love it. So we're going to look forward to having you guys back very soon. We got another episode coming up at On the Dock. You do not want to miss it. We love you. See you soon.